Hi everyone, it's Tony Flath, TmanSpeaks across social media. And I'm here today with Jonathan Schaeffer from the U of A. How you doing, Jonathan?
Doing well, and you?
I'm doing not too bad, staying warm in a cold Alberta. So great to be on a vlog chat with you here today, just to chat a little further about our discussions about artificial intelligence. And let's get right to it. So, exciting news I had seen on an article from David Staples back in November on University of Alberta and artificial intelligence research being ranked 3 globally, which was quite exciting to see. And then, you and I have been chatting back and forth, and we had a chance to have coffee this week, and you certainly enlightened me on, some things to think about when you look at artificial intelligence in Alberta, in Edmonton, in Canada, and certainly want to relay and convey that message. And, this kind of was something that really you've been aware of and certainly came aware of in an event that you were at last week in artificial intelligence. So I'm going to turn it over to you. I'd like to get your insights, on that, and love to hear it.
Well, we're very fortunate here at the University of Alberta to have a truly world-class research group in artificial intelligence. I use the words world-class appropriately. One of the things that bothers me is that the adjective world-class is just bandied about by everybody. We're world-class this, we're world-class that. And it's used and abused and really only should be mentioned in cases where you can truly demonstrate that you are world-class, that you have the international reputation, that you have the metrics, that you have the data to support that. And in the case of artificial intelligence at the University of Alberta, I have all of that. We are a world-class artificial intelligence group. This goes back like literally 30 years. We built up a core group of people and attracted more people, and over the years, our group has slowly grown. Very low attrition. People come to the University of Alberta and they like it. And we've just grown in size and strength in terms of our AI capability. And we knew we were good. We were publishing in all the best places and winning awards and doing all sorts of good things. But nobody knew how good we were, at least certainly in Edmonton or Alberta or Canada. And in some sense, we got discovered about 2 years ago. A site called csrankings.org decided to produce results that were that surveyed academic research groups based on their productivity in the creme de la creme research publication venues. Not the junky conferences that there's a lot of, but the really, truly elite, hard to get into places, the academic publishing venues that truly are the place to publish.
Well, and a big congrats to you and your team at U of A, for that AI research. That's certainly something to say right there.
It is, and then when they came out with the results, a lot of people were shocked that when you look under artificial intelligence and machine learning, that at the time, we were number 2 in the world. Depends when you measure it. I usually measure it from the year 2000 to today. Today, we're number 3 or number 4 in the world. Depends upon, again, when you measure it. But, it's clear that we're very close to the top. And it caught a lot of people by surprise. How the hell did you guys build a world-class AI research group in the subarctic? Well, that in some way describes why it's so amazing, because we are off the beaten path. We don't have the geographic advantages of Toronto or Montreal or Vancouver, or the money and stature that Silicon Valley or Harvard or MIT or other places, Oxford, Cambridge have. And somehow we've just managed to build an incredible group here. And I'd love to lie to you and say that it was a 30-year strategic plan that we created and methodically followed through. But of course I'd be lying. It was luck, it was happenstance, it was amazing. And now we've got all sorts of opportunities because the world has awakened and discovered that there's an outstanding group in, of all places, Edmonton, Alberta, Canada.
In the cold north, where we're sitting in a nice freeze zone right now. Yeah, for sure. No, that is fantastic. And a few things that you brought to my attention that, certainly, I want to echo out there is, number 3 today doesn't mean number 3 tomorrow. Like, there is some global impact things that are happening that I certainly think, Alberta needs to take heed on. And, certainly there's other places in Alberta, which we are in Canada, where there certainly is technology going on, like Montreal. But, I think you made some really good points that I think the listeners would love to hear and really just get a better awareness on really the global climate of artificial intelligence and, who's making moves and how do we move along with that?
So I want to sort of put a caveat on this in that, I've been around the technology side for a long time, and there's ebbs and flows. Something's hot today and it's cold tomorrow, and AI has gone through a long period where you couldn't get money to do AI research. That was what we call the infamous AI winter, where there was no money. And it's interesting, if you look at my career, when I started out in AI, for the first 15 to 20 years of my career, I got zero artificial intelligence research money because AI was not hot, it was not popular, it was very difficult to get grant funding. And so all of my research grants were in another area, parallel computing, where I was doing a lot of research. Yes, I was doing research because that's where the money was, but I was also splitting my time doing, of course, my AI research. Now, today, AI is hot, the money is there, it's flowing. 3 or 4 years from now, maybe AI will be passé, and who knows, there'll be some other technology that will supplant it. But there's something fundamental about AI that means it's not going to go away. AI is having real impact on real companies, generating real bottom line savings. It is going to be transformative to society. There is nothing in society that will not be touched directly or indirectly by AI technology. And whether the current media attention that AI is getting right now is just a flash in the pan and will go away 6 months or a year or 2 years from now, it doesn't matter. AI is going to change the world.
Yeah, I totally agree with you there, yeah.
A lot of companies, countries, governments, industries recognize that and are now betting heavily on AI. And the federal government, in their March budget of 2017, so almost 2 years ago, recognized there was a great Canadian opportunity with incredible AI expertise in Edmonton, Montreal, and Toronto, and invested $125 million into attracting and retaining the best talent here in Canada. 25 million of that came to the University of Alberta. Wonderful news, most welcome, most appreciated, but we're in a global game. Everybody is competing in the AI space, and particularly the subfield of artificial intelligence called machine learning. Companies like Google and Facebook and Amazon are just snapping up people at ridiculously high salaries. It's really tough to compete when you've got literally the entire world wanting this expertise. And so, although Canada may have been the first country to announce an AI strategy, in short order we've seen it happen in France, Britain is doing it, Korea, Japan, China has a massive strategy, the European Union. I was at a meeting last week, and the United States is preparing a big strategy that, it'll be billions of dollars. And you want to compete with the world, you've got to invest like the world. To put it in perspective, at the University of Alberta, we've got a great group. We have about 20-ish AI professors. And if you add in the graduate students and postdocs and programmers, it's a team of well over 100 people. And that sounds pretty impressive. 20-ish AI researchers at the University of Alberta. But in October, one university, MIT, that's one university in the world, announced that they were putting a $1 billion US investment into AI. That's 1.35 billion Canadian dollars. It's more than 10 times the federal investment in AI. And that is just MIT. All the major universities in the US are betting heavily in AI. If you look at the rankings, the AI rankings of academic institutions, and you go back 10 years, China was nowhere, absolutely nowhere in the playing field. Today, the number 2 university is Tsinghua University in Beijing. It's an excellent university, but they've gone from nowhere to world-class status simply because strategic investment in China to advance the AI agenda. And they're growing their faculty complement. They're investing heavily. Last week I was at the Association for the Advancement of Artificial Intelligence National Conference. It's the premier North American AI conference. And of course it's dominated by the Americans. Canada does well, but it's dominated by the Americans. At last year's event, the US had the most papers, and China was in a close second. This year's event, China was miles ahead of everybody else. In other words, the quantity and the quality of AI research that's coming out of China is phenomenal, and with the investments they're making there, we in Canada will be swamped. But more importantly, if you look at the United States, who's been #1 for decades in this field, quite frankly, if they haven't already been eclipsed by China, then it's just a matter of a year or two before that happens. Everybody's investing, and we in Canada, we're investing, but the stakes are enormous, and the players are big, the players are rich, and if we want to compete seriously, we're going to have to increase our investment.
There you go. So there's a shout out to Alberta, a shout out to businesses, to government. Certainly, you know, AI is a bet that everybody's making globally, and the more we can bet on that here, the better it can be. So looking at that and knowing the state of the economy in Alberta, and with energy concerns and everything else that's happening, where are some good industry flavors for AI that Alberta could leverage and really step it up and be able to create some good solutions out there in the marketplace? So
we have at the University of Alberta, we do a lot of AI research, not just pure research, but applied research. And we want to work with companies. And we've spun off our machine learning research group. It's now a not-for-profit company called... Sorry, I have a dog here who is very jealous that...
oh, that's okay, yeah.
And not... sorry, this interview is being distracted.
That's always fun. I can see my cat sneaking around, so maybe he'll jump up, yeah.
All right, so there's a different form of intelligence. I'm not sure I would call it artificial, but I certainly wouldn't call it human. So it's some sort of intermediate state. And this is Strudel, who is definitely decided that this has to be his show.
Well, hey.
Okay, thank you. I have a feeling he's trying to tell me that it's walk time. All right.
Oh, that's good.
Okay, get down, please. Get down. Thank you. So we spun off our machine learning group from the University of Alberta into a non-profit company called AMI, the Alberta Machine Intelligence Institute. And over the past couple years, I've met with over 50 Alberta companies talking about the AI opportunity and how they might leverage it for their business. Many of those companies want to do something in AI, and many of them are talking to AMI. I know that AMI has a list of over 200 companies that are interested in AI and want to develop AI solutions. Unfortunately, the funding in Alberta is such that we don't really have the ability to work with most of those companies. We just don't have the resources. In terms of sectors, it's clear that the biggest sector that's making the biggest investments is fintech. We are working with a variety of fintech companies. Royal Bank of Canada has set up their first non-Toronto research lab. I put them on the University of Alberta in the CCIS building. It's probably got about a dozen people, and I think they're expanding downtown. Alberta Treasury Branch has set up an AI lab in Edmonton. Service Credit Union is doing innovative things in AI, working with the Department of Computing Science. A variety of other banks and financial institutions are working in this sector. So there's huge critical mass in that area. We see other important sectors kicking the tires, like the construction industry, which has some big players in Alberta. Interestingly enough, we're not seeing a lot of activity in the energy sector. There is some activity, but relative to its size, it's actually quite small. I think the biggest opportunities really aren't in any particular sector. It's really just the type of work that needs to be done, the ability to deploy data mining or data analytics or machine learning, whatever you call it, has become extremely popular because the tools have become very powerful. And almost any company that has a lot of data, and there's a lot of companies out there who've been collecting a lot of data over the years, they're looking for help to understand how they can mine their data, turn their data into knowledge. And so I'm hoping that over the next few years, we collectively, through industry, through AMI, through the University of Alberta, can help these companies come up with AI solutions that will be to their economic benefit.
No, that's very exciting, and certainly areas where I can see, really wanting to see what happens next, and where some further investment dollars do come in. Certainly want to share that message out there, and you and I actually are going to be in sunny San Francisco next week for IBM Think 2019, where I'm doing social media work as an IBM partner, and certainly looking forward to meeting up with you there. I think it's a great event and venue to really see where things are going in North America from a technology perspective. And I know that from talking with you've probably got a couple angles that you're going down there for.
Got to talk to companies, got to be a salesman, and let them know about the opportunities we have in Edmonton.
Well, and yeah, fair warning, California. I'll help echo that too. I've got sales in my DNA, and certainly want to showcase that and carry that message out there that we've got some great talent here, and we've got some great things going on, and would love to lead the way further. So certainly looking forward to that. Now, in the last segment here of our chat, what are some things that you could leave for individuals who are younger and looking at different options for employment or career, and in these emerging technologies like artificial intelligence, or for people that maybe are going through a career change, maybe they were laid off in a job and looking to get retrained. What are some areas where you see that are a great point to look at and great horizon for opportunity?
Well, I think the most important thing is that everybody needs to be computer literate. It's not an option anymore. We talk about the 3 R's: reading, writing, and arithmetic. Well, there's a fourth thing there, and that's computer literacy. In today's day and age, to not understand what's going on, to not understand what a network is and streaming is, to not understand security and phishing, to not be able to go to a store and buy a computer because you don't understand what a gigabyte is or a gigahertz is and how much RAM you need in order to do the kinds of things that you do. You need to be computer literate. And I'm not talking about just being able to open up a Microsoft Word document and edit it. I'm talking about being able to talk the lingo. And so I don't care what field you're in and what your interests are. I think every student needs to be computer literate. And that's the first thing. The second thing is depending upon the field that you want to go into, you need to have a deeper understanding of computing. That doesn't mean you need to become a computer programmer. Computer programming isn't for everybody, and I certainly don't think that people need to understand computing. But for many professions, you need a much greater depth of understanding of computing, what it can do and what it can't do. Not because you're going to implement solutions, but because you're going to understand and the trade-offs between different solutions, so that you can sit down and have an intelligent talk about what it might take to perhaps transform an industry, to be able to evaluate a proposal from a software vendor, to be able to understand that some of your manual processes could be automated, to know enough to realize that the kinds of data you're collecting could be data mined to extract useful information. Computing as a tool to benefit society, to benefit companies, to automate processes, to improve the bottom line, is going to be critically important. It already is critically important, but that's only going to grow over time. And the more knowledgeable you are about computers, the better chance you'll be able to make very important strategic contributions to whatever company or agency or social group that you're involved in.
No, that's thanks so much. That's fantastic advice, and I'm sure it certainly will have some impact, and certainly a good thing to focus in on. Certainly technology changes and applications, and further capabilities with emerging technologies are going to drive that, and in lies the opportunity right there, right?
Yep. Right.
Well, I appreciate your time so much today. This has been a great chat. I'm really looking forward to California, where we can, have a chat there, and it's a little warmer climate.
Good. I look forward to seeing you next week.
Again, thanks so much. It's been Jonathan Schaeffer, who heads up the AI research at University of Alberta. Take care, everyone. Thanks.